I'm still not going to vote for it because there's stuff in there that's pink.
If you really want to expedite the process, you can fax it to me.
You can fax it to me.
Stop it. Welcome
to
the Naked Apple. I feel like we're very close to having a good jingle there.
At some point.
You don't consider yourself a jingler?
No.
That's a shame. Sure is a shame. Well, it's another fabulous week. It's gone by. So fabulous, I thought today was yesterday. So I'm experiencing Thursday twice.
That's great.
It's Groundhog Day. Good morning, woodchuckers. And it's getting lovely weather out there, which means there's snow coming. Because
Saturday.
That's what Utah does.
Uh-huh.
Hey, welcome to spring. Just kidding. Ha ha. Funny joke, right, Dr. Jones? Yeah. Yep.
Or
yep.
Monday, I guess, is the day that it's supposed to snow now.
And then it's all week.
And then it's all week. I mean, is it supposed to be 48 degrees on Monday?
Well, I live at a higher elevation, so.
Oh, that's fair.
It's snow.
You're going to have snow. You're going to have snow the entire time.
And I'm going to love it so much. I didn't want to do yard work anyways and finish my backyard and put a fence in. No, I don't want to do that. I like all the mud everywhere.
It's fair.
I love the kids coming into the house caked in mud. It's the best. It's the best. Love it so much.
So much.
Well, if you feel like you need a really good segue to redeem yourself, no, not that kind of segue. That kind drives you off a cliff. The kind of segue where you can tie in a story into the my throat's closing up. Kind of segue where you can tie the story you were just talking about into a little advert. That kind of segue. But redemption still comes in the form of Redemption Tactical nonetheless.
That was...
Tied it right in. Seamless.
Yes. Seamless was the word I was
Can't even see the blend line.
Can't see the line, can you, Russ? Nope. Russ?
Good reference.
It's the best reference. That is the only Christmas thing that is allowed to be referenced year-round.
It's a happy time.
Happiest time.
Yes, Redemption Tactical for all your tactical needs and all your feel-good redemptive needs via tactical gear and swag and shirts and stuff like that. Check them out in the link below.
Indeed.
Well, I guess without further ados, should probably go see what's going on at the weekly vitamin dose of the vitamin B.
Yes.
One of these mice does what I want it to do.
Welcome to your vitamin B.
Gracious.
Yeah. Here we are.
Here we are.
Once again.
Right here.
Right here. This is the location in which we exist.
This is the place.
Unhinged. Trump threatens more violence by promising to trigger a landslide on election day. Nobody knew. Nobody knew.
He's got all kinds of power.
Speaking of double or nothing, Trump challenges Judge Engoron to $450 million game of one-on-one, where he'll be wearing his brand new sneakers.
Oh, he's going to have the mad hops on him.
He is. Checkmate. Trump sneaks back into White House, invokes squatters' rights.
Ooh, got him.
Got him. Got him in one.
Doesn't help that Biden's been gone for 40% of the time.
Got him in one.
Got him in one.
Speaking of Biden, all murderers released from death row after Biden declares no one is illegal.
Wait. What? I thought this was satire. Hold on.
Democrats clarify they're okay with a bloodbath if it's just from killing the unborn.
Makes sense.
Ooh. That's so bad.
It's terrible. It's true. It's terrible. But I'm sure it's not actually blood because, it's not human. So, it's just a thing.
In case you follow any particular news icons, Matt Walsh blasts video games as childish, pointless drivel after his son beats him handily in Mario Kart.
That explains it.
That explains everything.
I would call it childish, pointless dribble as well.
I would too. Canadian Supreme Court rules Justin Trudeau is an outdated term and should instead be referred to as person with a vagina.
I'm all for that.
Don Lemon announces new show airing exclusively on MySpace.
What kind of deal did he get for that?
I don't know.
I couldn't get the Cybertruck, so maybe they'll give me a Prius.
Media reports Trump has threatened nuclear war after he says this guacamole is the bomb.
Was he wearing a Mexican hat at the time?
No.
Dang it.
No, unfortunately.
It's not as good as his...
Ketanji Brown Jackson warns right to free speech could lead to people speaking freely.
You don't want that.
Nobody
be out
wants
of
that.
No.
Nobody wants that. In other news, New York City homeowner arrested for not providing squatters with Wi-Fi password.
Got to give him the Wi-Fi.
Yep, indeed.
5G, nothing less.
Speaking of squatters and
6G.
unwanted invaders, media says border crisis not an invasion. It is simply a group of military-aged males using force against our military to enter and occupy the country.
They're looking for a better life. What don't you understand about that?
It's almost like an invasive. Yeah.
No,
Anyway.
no.
Speaking of invasive things, Planet Fitness adds bigot alarm to shame women who don't want men in their locker room.
It's about time.
About time.
Really. Can't tell you how many times I've gone in there. I can't tell you how many times I've gone in there because I haven't gone into Planet Fitness.
Speaking of bigots, AOC says Rico not a crime. He's the guy who delivers her food.
Hey, Rico.
Last but not least, coming to you directly from Capitol Hill, dozens injured at Capitol after omnibus bill tips over.
Oh, darn.
And this has been your Vitamin B.
Take. Perfect. Perfect in every way. I did see AOC posted defending her stupidity by trying to explain that RICO in and of itself is not a crime that could be committed. There's things within RICO, and no one can specify what it is within RICO that was committed. Even though the Bobolinsky was telling her specific things within RICO that was a crime committed.
I can't hear this conversation with you appropriately, considering that we just said Rico was the guy that delivers her DoorDash food.
Well,
there's things in Rico. Like, was he a mule?
Yeah, the community stepped in, and quick to point out that
gay corn star.
Quick to point out that RICO is the law of which your browser has lost connection to your screen share audio. Okay. Good thing we have a backup.
As I checked to make sure we have a backup.
I did press the button. The button's pressed.
The button is red. Button is red. Red means go.
I did my part. No.
Red means go.
People are quick to point out that within RICO, there's lots of things that are considered violations of RICO Act. And one person also pointed out, when someone commits murder, we don't specify exactly what murder was committed, because there's multiple types of murder within the category of
she's
murder.
An idiot. I will say she's an idiot.
Don't
I will
insult idiots.
I will give her one thing though. RICO is one of those things that was created as a catch-all and is specifically kept vague so that they can use it to
correct
to
entrap people
to
like
entrap
Donald Trump.
people. Yeah, RICO is bad law. It is bad law.
Yes.
She is correct. It is bad law.
She is, however, incorrect.
She is, however, incorrect that it was not violated.
Otherwise, she should be speaking out and calling for all charges against Trump.
The problem isn't whether or not it was violated. It's the fact that most people have violated RICO law in one way or another,
intentionally or
otherwise, because it's that vague.
Yeah. 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 So, I have a chunk of headlines.
Oh, sweet.
A chunk of headlines.
Get chunky with us.
I don't know if we'll make it through all of them, because right before I left to get here,
we have a new stinger coming just for Trevor. It's going to be Trevor's face over Chunk from the Goonies doing the truffle shuffle. And it's just going to be these words bouncing around and say, get chunky with us.
a chunk of headlines. And ends with, you're killing me, Smalls.
Killing me, Smalls.
That's not the Goonies. Don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Same time periods.
Close enough.
Same childhood memories all looped together right there.
We just need to figure out what audio we're going to put to it.
Hey, you guys.
Yes.
Goonies never die.
We're going to leave the audio of him.
Do the truffle shuffle.
Do the truffle shuffle.
I feel so inclined. I just might make that happen.
It needs to happen. I think that's a thing that we need. I feel like it's a thing that we need.
Your feelings
My
justify
feelings justify it.
I see.
This is the one time feelings justify something for real.
This is what's going to put us over the top.
It's going to put us over the top. This is the transition that brings the money. This is the money maker. Trevor photoshopped over the Trevor Shuffle.
Glad you're happy.
Oh, I had to lighten the mood before you go all black pill on us.
Yeah. I saw a thing that was basically like the straw that broke the camel's back that probably damn near black pilled me on the border stuff and is encroaching on other things. So,
Encroachment.
today's word,
terrible.
encroachment. Keep in mind, do you remember there's the whole trucker convoy to go down to the border to support Texas for seizing control of the border and all that stuff?
Yes, I do recall something about
keep that in your mind as I start to go through a few headlines here. Also, I guess we need a soundbite for this.
You caught me in mid-drink there.
Yeah, I did.
You did.
What the hell is even that?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
You're welcome.
So, all that in the back of your mind. Let it sit on the simmer spot of the stove. Texas government fighting over the border.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. Going to Haiti first.
Oh, Haiti.
So Haiti, if you did not know, has been under no law and order for the last month-ish,
Has it only been a month?
at least.
I feel like Haiti's had problems for a long time.
Well, you know when Donald Trump said it's an S-hole country, and all of the celebrities came out wearing their shirts and taking pictures in the Haitian beaches, that Haiti is already great shirts, things like that, in response. Well, now Haiti is being run by a cannibal warlord, basically.
Wait, you said what now?
A cannibal warlord is the best way I can think to describe him. His nickname is Barbecue because he burns his
Is
victim
that more
alive.
intimidating in Haitian?
I imagine so, because he burns his victims alive, leaves them burning in the streets, and then his followers and possibly even himself eat their victims after they've been barbecued.
Oh, yeah. The Haitian word for barbecue is bukanan. And it means, or barbacoa.
Which is it? One is a delicious restaurant, and the other's...
Bukanan is barbecue. Barbacoa is also Haitian. It means sacred fire pit,
Okay.
which also means barbecue, apparently.
Anyway, so all this is going on. He broke 4,000 some odd people out of prison, and they're all following him, and they're running around. The only part of the government that is still operating in any kind of function is like the state police.
The meat
force.
factories.
Yeah. The police.
Oh, it's same difference.
The prime minister president of Haiti, whoever it is, the guy that's supposed to be in charge of the whole crappy island, is not on the island. He flew away and now he can't get back. So it's just left. Towns have resorted to picking up machetes and whatever else they can find.
Machetes?
Machetes. To try to defend themselves from these cannibals, basically, that are going around killing people, and nobody's cleaning people up off the streets because nobody wants to go out on the street to try to clean up the dead bodies. So, early on, the State Department released a thing, said, hey, you probably shouldn't be if you're a U.S. citizen, you probably shouldn't be in Haiti anymore. If you need any help, good luck with that, because we're closing the embassy and evacuating everyone from the embassy.
Oh, so a Biden special.
Yeah, if I remember right, this is the 7th embassy that has been evacuated since Biden took office.
How many embassies did we evacuate under Trump?
I think it was 0.
It was 4.
4 under Trump.
Yes.
Does it say which 4?
Let's see. Iran.
Was that evacuated because there was tons of war going on around the embassy, or was that
Oh, it was
because-
Iraq because Iran was planning an attack on Iraq, on the U.S. embassy.
Oh, okay. And we left all the Americans behind that were there.
No, removed them all.
Oh, we moved all non-military personnel out of. Oh, okay. So they did it properly. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, they.
That's the only one I actually see named.
Yeah. Yeah. So Biden, and copying basically what was done in Afghanistan, just left Americans on their own, and Israel, and pick a place.
Because it was the only one that was an actual embassy. There were 4 total facilities that he evacuated. But it looks like there was only one of them that was an actual embassy.
So 1.
All 4 of them in Iraq.
1. 1 because an actual nation was about to invade the nation the embassy was in. And so out of precaution, they evacuated the non-essential personnel out. Anyway, so American citizens for weeks were trying to figure out how to get home because they couldn't.
They gave him shit about it, too, because it was an unfounded claim that the embassy was going to get attacked.
Okay.
The one time he did it, he got lit up by the media for evacuating an embassy for an unfounded claim. And Biden has now evacuated.
I think 7.
It was 5 as of August of 2023.
So add Haiti, that's 6. So it could be 6.
6 or 7, somewhere in there.
So the State Department finally was able to arrange 1 flight to evacuate Americans out of Haiti. If only there was a way for the U.S. government to get airplanes or even boats to the island. If only there was a way. But hey, we're building a dock at Gaza so we can more safely deliver supplies to Hamas.
As we should.
We're not delivering it to Hamas. We're delivering it to the people of Gaza. Yes, and Hamas is taking them and then selling it to the people of Gaza. So there's that. Oh, and by the way, Ron DeSantis has used resources in Florida to evacuate people out of Haiti.
Oh, good.
U.S. citizens out of Haiti.
Oh, good.
So a governor somehow be able to manage just as much, if not more, than the entire federal government can. Oh, and DeSantis is also shoring up the defense on the southern border to stop all the Haitians that are trying to illegally come into the United States now.
All right, then.
So there's that. Earlier today, Thursday, March 21st, lawmakers unveiled $1.2 trillion funding package just in time to avoid a government shutdown tomorrow.
Well, that's good.
They only have, not only, they have a whopping 40-ish hours from when they got the bill to read the over 1,000 pages and then vote on it. in the House and the Senate
Excuse me?
before the shutdown.
Every freaking person in Congress should automatically vote no to anything like that that pops up.
Should.
And if they don't, they should be removed.
The Speaker of the House is very proud of the bill that they've put together. Both sides win on this. That means nobody.
That means nobody
the
wins.
US
That means everybody
citizens
loses.
Yeah. No, it means the progressives win and the U.S. citizens lose.
That's what I mean. Everybody loses.
Everyone that matters loses. Yes.
Well, no. Everybody loses. The progressives lose too. They just don't know that they lose.
No. See, the progressives. Well, I guess you're kind of right. Progressives. The progressive goal is to destroy the country. Whether or not they actually know that is a whole nother.
Indeed.
The $1.2 trillion package, which includes 6 bills and spans more than 1,000 pages, features money for the Departments of State. Oh, Haiti. State. Homeland Security. The border. I remember that's on the back burner still. Defense. They got all their drag show things going on. Labor and Health and Human Services. Yes, we just rolled out the next vaccine, and we're considering trying to mandate it in some way, shape, or form, but we can't figure out how. As well as funds for foreign operations. It's a fancy way to say Ukraine. Financial services. It's wiping out student debts and stuff, I'm guessing. And the legislative branch.
Oh, great.
If approved, the package would take the threat of a government shutdown off the table until the beginning of the next fiscal year on October 1st. Yep. And they're trying to, the leadership has had the text of this thing for at least the last week because they've been touting how great it looks and all this stuff. And only now do the lay people within Congress get to finally look at the bill and hurry, we need to vote on it right now or else we're going to shut down and we're all going to be evil if the government shuts down.
It's almost like they keep putting the government shutdowns in a place where they'll keep recurring just so that they can pass bullshit like this.
Speaker Johnson, Mike Johnson, right? Is that his name? Mike Johnson? Yes. He celebrated the package in a statement saying House Republicans have achieved significant conservative policy wins. This fiscal year 24 appropriations legislation is a serious commitment to strengthening our national defense by moving the Pentagon toward a focus on its core mission while expanding support for our brave men and women who serve in uniform. The Pentagon who's over places like the Army, Navy, all that stuff, and what's that prestigious military school?
West
Point?
West Point? Yeah.
I think it was them. Just changed their core values from honor, dignity, and service or something like that to Army principles. So their core principles, though. Importantly, it halts funding for the United Nations agency which employed terrorists who participated in the October 7th attacks against Israel. Almost. You had me convinced you did a good thing there.
Almost. Not quite.
If you said, importantly, it halts funding for the United Nations, period. Well, you might have something here.
Even then, it's iffy.
Right. That's might have something there.
Depends on where you rerouted it to.
Yeah. Johnson said the proposed package would increase U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement's detention capacity from 34,000 to 42,000 beds and provides funding for about 22,000 Border Patrol agents. Now, keep in mind, when Joe Biden took office, Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention capacity was 50,000.
Gosh.
So we got a victory by increasing it to 42.
by decreasing it to 42.
Well, it was decreased to 34.
Yes, so
And
now
now
they've
they've
made a
increased
less
it
of a
to 40.
decrease to 42.
I'm trying to pull a Joe Biden here. Gas prices are down. I brought down gas prices from the highest
Pushed.
point of which you implemented
Pushed gas prices up from the low that they were at before.
when you took office.
You pulled it down from the high it was at before.
Uh-huh.
When comparing you to you, yes. When comparing you to somebody competent, no.
In addition, the bipartisan agreement reached to fund the Department of Homeland Security moves the department's operations toward enforcing our border and immigration laws, Johnson's statement read. It significantly cuts funding to NGOs that incentivize illegal immigration and increases detention capacity and the number of Border Patrol agents to match levels in the House-passed Appropriations Bill and the Secure the Border Act.
Also sends money to Gaza. So how about no?
How about no? Well, people are starving there. Yeah. Because Hamas is there. And so long as Hamas is there, Gaza is not a savable place.
Yes.
That's how it works. We also have to help
People are
Ukraine.
starving in Africa, too.
People are starving in the U.S.
People are starving in the U.S. How about we stop sending money to other countries and spend it here? We could start by, stopping the printing of money we don't need. Because that's what they print the money so they can send it overseas and screw us.
Uh-huh. On the Democratic side, we defeated outlandish cuts that would have been a gut punch for American families and our economy. And we fought off scores of extreme policies that would have restricted Americans' fundamental freedoms, hurt consumers while giving giant corporations an unfair advantage, and turned back the clock on historic climate action. You want to know what's a real gut punch?
The fact that they're even considering passing this monstrosity?
No, I just remembered this.
The fact that we even have to talk about them having a possibility of passing this monstrosity?
If you haven't swallowed the black pill yet, I'm going to... Where are you? I'm going to find it.
Yeah, sure.
The Treasury Department.
You know what the real gut punch is? Dude. Gestures to everything.
Everything. Also keep in the back of your mind with all of this stuff, I just wanted to go to Disney World a few years ago. I just wanted to go to Disney World.
I did go to Disney World a few years ago.
2020. Supposed to go to Disney World. Nope. Couldn't do that.
We went in 2018? Disney World and Universal Studios
Nice.
for our anniversary.
So the Treasury Department has created a new rule.
Oh, they created a new rule. A new rule that was voted on by, the legislative body that's
Yes.
required to make a law.
Uh-huh. Now, they claim they've been working hard to inform everyone affected by this new rule so that they're not going to be hurt by it. So naturally, nobody knows about it.
Why are you creating a new rule that'll hurt people?
Well,
Let's start there.
if you own a small business, you have a limited time to report your small business to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network within the Treasury Department. Otherwise, you could be in federal trouble.
Is that the same as the whatever transparency bullshit that they just passed? Is that the same thing? Or is it different?
I think it's different.
'Cause it sounds like the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Corporate Transparency Act.
Yeah, corporate transparency.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It is bullshit, but it's the same thing.
So underneath this, if you own an LLC, if you have less than 20 employees, you must report your business to the financial crimes. So you are guilty until proven innocent,
Yes.
essentially, to prove that you are not laundering money
Yeah.
through your small business of 20 employees or less.
Yeah, we talked about this before.
Yeah. So this takes
effect this year. So if you
What's
have an
new about
existing
this?
business, you have until the end of the year to fill out the reporting.
Here's what's new about it.
Oh, good.
There were, I think it was 3 businesses that took this to all the way up to the Supreme Court.
Oh, good.
The Supreme Court ruled in favor of the 3 businesses.
Oh, good. So it's no longer a rule.
Only those businesses are exempt.
What the hell?
Yeah. That's how,
That's not how the Supreme Court works.
no, that's how the Treasury Department decided to interpret what the Supreme Court said.
That's not how the Supreme Court works.
Ha 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 ha. You're funny. You are funny. So keep that Supreme Court not working in your mind as well as we continue on.
That's not how that works.
Republicans.
Okay, the fact that the 3 businesses won in the Supreme Court just means if you have the means to fight it with a lawyer, you might as well.
Uh-huh. As I'm sure most 20 employee or less small businesses have the means to hire a lawyer.
You would be surprised.
I'm sure there's a handful of pro bonos too that would be happy.
Yeah. Well, I think you'd be surprised how many small businesses with around that many employees are actually making millions of dollars a year.
Yes. Depends on the business.
It does. It depends on the business. If enough of them win in court.
Yeah. And if I remember right,
And if another group of them takes it to the Supreme Court might be just like, we already ruled on this. You have to stop that entirely.
the Supreme Court also told Joe Biden he can't keep writing checks to wipe away student loan debt, but he's only done it 3 times since they've told him to stop twice.
All right, I've heard enough. Deadly force authorized.
They told him to stop twice, and he's done it 3 times since being told no.
Stupid. All right.
So,
Rules for thee, but not for me.
Correct.
It's absolute bullshit.
correct.
We just need to wipe it out and start over again.
Senate Republicans
Brutus?
are demanding that Joe Biden reverses the export ban on liquid natural gas because it's a national security threat. Now, keep in mind, they're about to ramrod a spending bill through without even reading any of it. And on the flip side, they're turning around and saying, stop doing the things.
Yeah, they make no sense.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
This is what happens when people are.
If I was in Congress, I wouldn't even be reading the damn 1,000-page bill at all. I wouldn't read a page of it.
Bother.
I wouldn't
No.
bother. I would just automatically
hard
vote
no.
no.
And any constituent that calls in, you need to vote for this to not shut down the government.
No, because I don't have time to read 1,000 pages in less than 40 hours.
Have you read the 1,000 pages? No, I haven't. Get back to me when you do.
Yeah, you read the full 1,000 pages and then write to me and tell me I need to vote for it.
And highlight specifically why I have to.
Yes.
And I will highlight
I
everything
want you,
else as to why I should
I
not.
want you to print the bill out, all 1,000 pages of it. And I want you to take 2 highlighters. I want you to take a green one and a pink one. And I want you to highlight things that you like in the bill in green and things that you don't like in the bill in pink.
You might want to buy a couple of pink ones.
You might want to buy a couple of pink ones. And then I want you to count what you have that's in pink and what you have that's in green. and put a tally at the end of it. And if the tally in green is greater than the tally in red, I want you to, or pink, I want you to tell me what the tally is, and then I'm still not going to vote for it because there's stuff in there that's pink.
If you really want to expedite the process, you can fax it to me.
You can fax it to me.
Yeah.
like for real. Seriously. That's what I would do. If I was in Congress, I would go through and I would highlight every bill that I got. And if I didn't have time to read it, if I didn't have time to go through and do that, I wouldn't vote for it. It would be an automatic no. And then if I went through it and I highlighted one thing in pink,
No.
it would be a no.
Yeah, it's going to be a no from me, dog.
Every single time. I don't care how much green is in it. If there is one thing that's pink, I'm voting no.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike Lee introduced a legislation.
Because each of those things should be voted on individually.
All it says in the legislation is to disband the TSA.
Yes.
Green.
Immediately.
Green.
Well, and that's not to say that I wouldn't compromise on some things, if my constituents wanted me to. Mm-hmm. If they put forward a bill,
it's just your default position.
Yeah, no. The point I'm making here is it's not about whether or not I like what's in it. It's about the fact that there's more than one thing in it. Mm-hmm. No bill passed on the floor should ever have more than one thing if there's only one vote.
Hey, this gives conservatives this bill, it's 2,000 pages, and it gives conservatives every single thing they want.
Nope.
Hey, what's this thing in here that gets rid of the Second Amendment?
Yeah, exactly. It's a no. It's always a no. If there's more than one thing, and if it's 1,000 pages long, it's a no. It's a single paragraph describing one law change, and each law change has to be a vote.
Yeah.
And each budget approval has to be a vote. Each one individually. And watch the number of bullshit things that go through Congress go. Because they're too lazy.
And then you can actually debate on the individual topics.
Yeah, and then you can actually debate on the individual topics rather than, well, yeah, I get that that's not necessarily a great thing, but these three things are awesome. Let's do it because we get these three things. No, the answer is no. You pull all four of those things into separate pieces to vote on. All four of them, every time.
It's the whole 2 steps forward, 1 step back thing.
Right.
Except in this case, it's 3 steps back and 2 steps forward.
Right. You guys, as representatives, as Congress, you have one job. Your job is to make sure that the things that come through Congress are passed into law in a way that represents your constituents. Mm-hmm. And passing an omnibus bill does not represent your constituents, and it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. That does not represent your constituents, period. It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't. So,
Yeah.
it's bullshit. Stop it. And stop it.
And crap like this, you gotta get rid of the export ban on electric natural gas. Stuff like this wouldn't be an issue if people weren't led to believe that there are 3 equal branches of government.
Yeah.
Because there's not.
There's not.
Congress, the legislative branch, is the ultimate authority in everything.
Always has been.
Because if the executive branch is supposed to execute the law from the legislative branch, if they do not execute the law from the legislative branch, the legislative can turn around and say, "Okay, you're not getting funded until you start executing the law.
Yeah.
You don't get any paychecks until you start executing the law."
Yeah,
The judicial side, the Supreme Court said, "That's great. We said no." Mm-hmm. Well, the Supreme Court once said that slavery was legal, even though over on the legislative side, we're saying, let's pass laws that get rid of it. Supreme Court turns around and said, oh, no, it looks legal.
Supreme Court cannot write law. The only thing that they can do is rule on whether or not a law is constitutional.
And if their ruling says this is extremely unclear, it is now the legislature's duty to clarify.
Yes. The legislative branch is the one with the most power by far. And I think it's been they've been misleading people for generations. Because I don't know about you, but do you remember the when they talk about the branches of government in school? Do you remember the graphic that they had in the social studies book? Because
the 3 pillars holding up the
Yeah. And well, so the one that I'm thinking of was the cycle one. Do you remember what that one looked like?
I probably will if you explain it.
So that one had it was the 3 different branches, and it had so it had legislative and judicial, and it had executive at the top, and then little arrows and stuff between them denoting the interaction and whatever. But it's imagery, right?
Right.
And you can tell if they're trying to push a narrative on something like that, because they put the one that they want you to think is most important
On the top.
Yeah. So they put the executive branch on the top because that's the only thing you should focus on. That's the only thing you should care about is the president.
The president
If
decides
things
your
are
life.
working correctly, who's in office as president
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. Makes no difference. Even if things aren't working correctly, the person in office generally doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Unless he's doing things he's not supposed to do, which is what Joe Biden is doing right now. He's doing things he's not supposed to do. He's doing things he doesn't actually have the power to do. And so the branch with the most power, the most actually important branch, is the legislative branch, because they're the ones that can change law. They're the ones that can make law. They're the ones that can sign law. And they're the ones that, with a vote, can amend the Constitution.
Yeah. Yeah, they put that focus on there to the point where you should recognize how screwed up it is, because we know who the Secretary of State is, Pete Buttigieg, or the Secretary of Treasury is, or Transportation. Gosh, yeah, Pete Buttigieg. There's no way, there's no reason why you should know the presidential cabinet by name.
No.
And their department.
Because they shouldn't matter.
They should not matter. And there's no reason you should know multiple members of Congress, whether or not you remember who your own representative is.
Yeah.
There's no reason to know all that. You should. It's understandable you know who the president, vice president is. It's understandable that you might know the Speaker of the House and maybe the minority leader or something like that.
Yeah.
And then your own representative.
Likewise for the Senate.
Yeah.
And you should know your own representatives.
Yeah. Outside of that,
and not even necessarily all of the representatives in your state, but the representatives for your district.
Yeah.
That's it. Those are the only ones that you should actually be really familiar with.
But
it's become so polarized. We all know tons of names from all of it. I mean,
AOC.
I know a lot more Democrat names than I know Republican names.
And the Republican
Because they're
names you do know
obnoxious.
are the ones that you hate.
That's not true. I know a handful that I like.
But you know more that you hate.
That's fair.
But anyways, back to this liquid natural gas thing.
Oh, yay.
So it's Republicans are crying about this after they're basically going to throw away their leverage to get what they want. Yeah, we're going to fund everything you want, but after you get your money, please stop doing the thing. Why? But anyways, they consider it a national security threat because Ukraine might not get the natural gas that it needs.
You said this was Republicans?
Uh-huh.
They're going... Et tu, Brute? Which ones?
I don't know. It keeps blurring out on me because apparently I've used all my free article limit on the Epic Times. But
that explains a lot.
and I don't remember reading it earlier if it named them out, but it's 4 of them that are crying about it. I wouldn't be surprised if Romney was on the list.
He probably is.
It's Senate Republicans, so it's probably Mitch, the turtle, Romney, and Lindsey Graham. I can't think of a fourth. But yeah, so there's that. So the Supreme Court, they came up earlier a couple of times. The Supreme Court, so Texas is trying to pass a law, or passed a law, signed into law, that they could deport illegal aliens, people that enter the state illegally from
I got it.
border.
Senators Dan Sullivan, Roger Wicker. So Sullivan's from Alaska, Wicker's from Mississippi. John Barrasso from Wyoming, and Jim Risch from Idaho.
I was wrong on all accounts. Okay. Still, all other comments stay the same. Yeah, and notice none of them actually are from, well, Alaska. They might have liquid natural gas export thing. But the other states, they don't have liquid natural gas, so it shouldn't be a really state concern for them. So that's a coastal state issue.
So, but the lower part of this article doesn't talk about Ukraine as much. It's saying that Russia and Qatar are cornering the market in Europe, causing instability, and we need to send the liquid natural gas. We need to be able to export it so that we can support Europe as a whole.
Yes, because that's an issue of national security.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see where having allies potentially being subject to foreign adversaries could be a security risk.
You mean the same allies who were working with Russia to build a natural gas pipeline from Russia to Germany to supply themselves with natural gas, while at the same time stoking the flames of war with Russia, and then being shocked and surprised when that's cut off, and then somehow it gets blown up after our administration says, we'll make sure it's gone.
Yes, those ones.
Yeah, those aren't allies.
No, they're not.
The Supreme Court, so Texas sued the Biden administration.
Oh, good.
Well, I should say the Biden administration sued Texas.
Oh, bad.
Because Texas is trying to enforce SB 4, which gave the Texas government permission to deport illegal aliens.
Ah, yes.
Sounds like a sound thing to me. The federal government isn't doing their job, so yeah, step on in, Texas, and send them back home. Mexico stepped in and said, you can't send them here. Excuse me? They came through you. Anyways, Biden administration sued him. Went through the court process. And the court process leading up to the Supreme Court put a stay on the enforcement of the law. So Texas can't enforce it according to the courts, the lower courts. Finally gets to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court doesn't really rule on it. They just say, lift the stay. The stay can't stay. So Texas can't enforce it while it's being litigated. And then the lower court comes back and says, here's the stay. So is the Supreme Court really supreme?
Doesn't sound like it.
Well, they didn't rule on it. No, but they definitely indicated that no matter what you say, they're going to rule in favor of Texas. So
There's that.
So yeah, I would say that Texas should just enforce the law that they passed for themselves. But I understand why they wouldn't, because on the federal level, Congress keeps funding the executive branch to not enforce the law and to stop anyone that tries to enforce the law. So they don't have any backing from any kind of federal level. And then on top of that, there are states that are trying to help Texas, Utah being one of them. Governor Cox sent a whopping 5 National Guard members to help on the southern border.
Oh, gosh. What a useless piece of shit.
I'm helping. I sent National Guard troops. How many did you send? How many? 5. 5?
He did a couple of things that I was like, he seems to be coming around. No, the longer I talk about politics, the more I hate that guy.
Yeah. The more you realize he just follows the political wind. Great kind of person to lead a state.
He doesn't even just follow the political wind, because the political wind in Utah always blows to the right. It always does.
Does it,
always
though?
has. Yes.
Does it?
It always has.
Does it?
Yes.
He lives in Salt Lake. Does
Yes,
it always blow to the right?
In Salt Lake City,
That voted
there's
for
a
Hillary
lot,
Clinton.
There's a lot more liberals, but the state as a whole, who he is the governor for, the state as a whole,
Who receives thousands of dollars from the teachers union.
the state as a whole, it blows to the right. And the more he shows his colors like this, the more likely it is that he will not win office again, at least not in a legitimate race.
Oh, what a shame that would be.
Yeah. I don't think it would be a shame. I personally would never vote for him.
No. No.
And I explain all the stupid shit that he does to everybody that asks me about him. So hopefully none of them will ever vote for him either.
His pronouns are he, him, so.
My pronouns are the shit, so. No, seriously though, it's like the more you look at his policies, the worse he gets.
Oh, yes.
And it's not even like it's like he'll do 10 things that are actually what he wants to do, and then one thing that he thinks will pander to the right so that he can
So all the goldfish forget that he did those 10 things.
maintain this small mediocre image. That,
Look at my conservative record.
Look at my conservative record.
Yeah. What about in between those things? What did you do in between those things? There's a large gap in your resume here.
Yeah, exactly. And the funniest thing is if you look at any of his campaigns ever, the things that he highlights are all of the conservative things. He calls himself a moderate and
Which is
highlights the conservative things he does, and then votes almost straight liberal on everything.
Yeah. A Republican calling themselves a moderate in a state like Utah
Means he's a liberal.
Is a progressive trying to hide
Yes.
as a Republican.
Yes.
Yes.
And it really doesn't surprise me to find out how corrupt he is with all that stuff going on with the AG and everything.
Like we talked about. Was that
Like we
last
talked
week?
about a couple weeks ago, yeah.
Do.
And I really hope he burns for it, because Reyes is one of the best AGs we've ever had.
Oh, yeah, by far. And he wasn't, when he first got in, he wasn't even elected in. He was appointed because the other AG had some troubles.
Yeah.
Which I'm second guessing now if he actually had troubles based off of.
Things that we're learning
Coxie.
about Cox now. Yeah.
Well, he wasn't governor at the time. No, but he was the lieutenant governor.
Yeah, he was the lieutenant governor, and Romney was in office then. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, that whole machine goes back all the way to what's his nuts?
Levitt.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that machine's been around for a lot longer than I've been looking at politics.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. On the border, again. This coupled with another thing is what pushed me over the edge.
Oh, goody.
So, this is the Texas National Guard on the southern border trying to control a situation. Maybe. Migrants breaking through barbed wire fencing.
Tearing down fencing and rushing.
A handful of National Guard trying to stand at the gap. And then they just start rushing, punching,
I love how a bunch of them are holding their hands up like
and running over. the
innocent.
And then they get to another fence, which is quickly locked. Save us! We want a better life! There you go. Now, I don't know if you noticed, at the beginning of that, there was a fence behind where they were at. So that's the second fence.
That they tore down.
That
At
they tore
least, if not the third.
Uh-huh. Before they got to the actual, like, solid gate fence thing. Mm-hmm. Now, the National Guard, they had firearms. Even saw one of them swing the butt of his gun at one of the migrants that was trying to punch him and run him over.
Oh, how much you want to bet this had something to do with trafficking?
No.
Yeah, so the instigation of that rush was the National Guard was attempting to organize the people into smaller groups, and it escalated when some women and children were separated from adult males by the guardsmen.
Well, these families are just trying to find a better life.
Traffickers and their victims, you mean?
Families.
Traffickers and their victims.
Families.
Traffickers and their victims.
You have a weird way of saying families.
It's because I'm not saying families. I'm saying traffickers and their victims.
Yeah.
Because I almost guarantee that's what's going on there.
99.99% sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you notice how concerned they are because the men just abandon the women and children as soon as they get past the National Guard.
Yeah.
Very concerned. And they're all men in their 20s-ish. Just looking for a better life. Looking for a better life.
We have women and children. We're hungry. Help, help, help their kids.
Now, as I said, the Border Patrol, or the National Guard there, they have firearms. They did not use the firearms. And to a degree, I understand the optics of shooting into a crowd that has women and children.
Yes.
Not that good. However, the fact that these guys knew that they could blitz the National Guard with firearms and not get shot is deeply concerning.
Yeah. Especially considering how many of them, if you zoom in on some still pictures there, how many of them have their faces covered.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And they want a better life in America, and they wave non-American flags and symbols. If they do have other flags and symbols. But this led me on a train of thought. So with the whole COVID stuff, they basically culled the armed forces of anyone that would dare question orders. Basically got rid of any and all alphas from the military by mandating vaccines, whether or not you thought you had an exemption. So thousands of military personnel, National Guard and otherwise, were ejected from the military. So basically all they're left with is yes men. Right?
That's great.
So now we have this.
Wait,
now,
didn't the Supreme Court rule they couldn't do that?
Again, the Supreme Court ruled that Joe Biden
Was that a Supreme Court ruling, or was that a lower court ruling?
I think they ruled that like this year or something like that, like recently, if they did.
And I only bring that up to point out they are blatantly going against the system right now. Like they are blatantly operating outside of the system right now. This is pure and unfiltered corruption. Mm-hmm. Like they're not even trying to hide it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if it's infecting our military like that, that means it has gone to as far into the government as it can possibly go.
Well, if you remember, we had what's his name? Secretary that's over the military, Secretary of Defense.
Yes, SecDef.
He just disappeared for surgery, and the only reason why we knew he disappeared for surgery is because he had complications that made him stay longer in surgery, only to find out that he told nobody that he was going into surgery, of which complications could arise that would keep him from doing his job as Secretary of Defense.
Wow. Yeah.
That's the guy that's in charge of all of this stuff. And he feels in Congress, he testified when pointed out the freaking hypocrisy he had of not telling anyone of the medical stuff he was going through because it was very private. And he was asked point blank, will you reinstate the thousands of military members with back pay and give them their rank back and everything because they sought medical exemptions because of their personal private beliefs? No, I will not do that. They don't care.
No.
They do not care. The deep state doesn't exist.
That's the only state we have left. No, I'm dead serious. I honestly, like the point we're at now, I don't trust any election. I don't trust any politician. Like I don't care which side wins in an election anymore. It's all the freaking same.
Uh-huh.
It's the corruption in our government is so freaking thorough. Like I honestly, I don't think there's any way to pull it out of the fire other than to erase it and start over.
Destroy it. Kill it if you have to.
Yes. And I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how that gets started. And if it goes the way it's going a few years from now, I might get arrested for these words. But
yeah. Yeah.
Especially if we end up with more than 10 listeners at a time.
Well, Steve Baker, as we've highlighted before, he released a new article on The Blaze.
Oh, good.
He's going back to D.C. in a week or two. Mm-hmm. He was told by high-ranking congressional staff, when you get to D.C., keep your head on a swivel. He said, oh, yeah, I will. No, really. Keep your head on a swivel.
Oh, we know somebody's going to try to assassinate
The story he just released dives into the deep corruption in the Capitol Police.
Oh, good. Great.
And in when he was talking about it on the morning shows and talk shows and whatever with The Blaze, he mentioned so he talks about the corruption there and the top brass of the of the Capitol Police has been laundering money from the police via falsifying their overtime records.
What?
Which is on paper in Capitol Police, handbook, a fireable offense.
Huh.
And the attorneys have said it's a felony because of the amount of money that they stole. But they're still in charge of the Capitol Police. And Steve Baker's connections at the Capitol have told him they have never heard attorneys yelling at each other about Steve Baker's case. About any case. And they were yelling about Steve Baker's case to the point where they heard an attorney yell, "I want him in jail."
Steve Baker?
Uh-huh. And he says what happens from whistleblowers that he has and contacts he has is the Capitol Police has control of Congress because they're involved. They know all the private stuff they're doing because they're the security detail for Congress. When they go out on public and all that stuff, they know what the upper leadership of Congress is doing. They know their mistresses. They know all that stuff. So when Congress comes out and says, hey, we're going to pass this bill, and the head of police, the Capitol Police doesn't like it, they'll make some phone calls and tell you we can get this guy to leave office, and then you won't have a majority anymore.
Jeez.
Steve Baker's about to go in front of a judge who ruled that another journalist was being held in contempt of court because she wouldn't reveal her sources. He's going to go in front of that judge
Oh,
to defend himself.
good.
Yeah.
Contempt of court because they won't reveal their sources when...
A journalist won't reveal their sources. So that's contempt of court. What did that journalist reveal? Corruption within Washington, D.C.
It'd be interesting to see if you could circumvent that as a journalist by having NDAs with every one of your...
Non-disclosure agreements?
Yeah.
No. Look what they're doing.
You're legally, contractually obligated to never reveal information about them.
Look what they're doing to Trump because they're bringing up the Stormy Daniels thing again.
Mm-hmm.
Who the reason why it became an issue is because she went in front of TV and said, here's the legal documents I signed that said I would keep quiet about what I'm telling you about. And so now the courts are...
Didn't she have to pay reparations for that, though? I'm pretty sure she did.
Yes, she did.
She still had to fulfill the terms of the NDA.
Uh-huh.
For violating the NDA, she still had to do it. But with an NDA, the court can't legally force you to disclose without violating the NDA.
Uh-huh. But the court didn't force her to disclose. She just disclosed it.
No, she just disclosed it.
So she broke the law.
So she broke the law, and she still had to
do her time.
To do her time for the violation. That's what I'm saying.
Now Donald Trump is paying for it because that's one of the 91 whatever charges against him is because, well, he used campaign finances to do that. Because his lawyer is the one that signed the check. So, yeah, Steve Baker could get a bunch of NDAs. But for what? In a court that doesn't care, especially a D.C. court. Anyways, back to the National Guard. I can understand also them having instructions to use non-lethal means to control the crowds. Why don't they have non-lethal stuff for crowd control?
Beanbag shotguns and water cannons.
Gas.
Riot control, tear gas.
Yeah. They don't have any of that. There's nothing in that video we saw that suggests there's any form of crowd control available to them.
Riot shields, for hell's sake.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I... Like, watching that video... I'm surprised that none of the guard guys got injured.
One of them was pushed down and basically trampled. I'm guessing he probably wasn't injured as much as he could have been because he had his plate carrier and all that. And it wasn't a massive crowd.
Like that's a dangerous thing. What they did could have killed that guy.
Could have.
Easily could have killed him.
Uh-huh.
And in my mind, if something like that were to happen and one of those guardsmen there had shot somebody in that crowd, it would have been justified self-defense.
In our minds, yes. But then you go to D.C., look what Texas has done. Because it's the Texas National Guard in that thing.
You know,
It's not Border Patrol.
Fuck them.
I know. Welcome to the black pill. And I haven't got to the final thing.
That's the point I'm at right now. Like surround yourself with the people you trust, because
where you are is where you will be when the ish hits the fan.
yes.
Stay strapped or get clapped. George Washington.
Probably. Yeah. Seriously though. Holy shit.
Yeah. So, the thing I told you to keep the back burner on.
Okay.
Texas made this huge thing of taking over Eagle Pass Park. Migrant crossings went way down because Texas was there. And by golly, look at all the stuff that the concertina wire that they're throwing up. Nobody's crossing here. And look, they're all crossing in Arizona and New Mexico now, not in Texas. Right?
Okay.
The week prior to that, the Biden administration secretly went to Texas or to Mexico, made some sort of deal with the president of Mexico, to which the president of Mexico had his military and law enforcement officials directing migrants towards New Mexico and Arizona instead of Texas. That took effect 2 days. Migrant crossings went to almost zero 2 days before Texas took over on Eagle Pass.
Come again?
So I don't have this as a thing because it's actually a special on the Blaze. You can go. It's worth getting at least the 30-day trial or whatever to check out this special. The whole freaking thing was a photo op for Texas and Governor Abbott.
Ugh.
And all the stupid coxy governors, like Utah's governor, that went down and participated in the photo op. In their defense, they probably didn't know much about that for the most part. But yeah. So Biden administration showed behind closed doors that they have every means possible to stop this flow by working with Mexico and having them redirect traffic, basically, and or halting traffic. But they did it behind closed doors because, well, it's election season. Can't have our voters thinking that we're actually enforcing the border. Got to make sure they think it's Texas's problem. Texas is the one that's not doing what they're supposed to do. The Republicans won't pass the bill that lets me do what I need to do. Do what we need to do. The Republicans won't pass the bill. And then Texas swoops in under Governor Abbott's command, who is, in my opinion, much like Cox, but a little, just ever so slightly more to the right because it's Texas instead of Utah.
Well, he's just a little slower going to the left, you know, with the wheelchair and everything.
Right. Takes him a minute to scoot on over. So he does.
No, I'm going to get in trouble for making a joke about that. But
so he does all this, which in the end puts Texas National Guard troops and any other state that sent National Guard down to help Texas in danger, as we saw in this video, because once Mexico decides, Texas, we don't like you passing this law, that has you send people back to our country that we allowed to illegally pass through our country to get to yours. We're going to go ahead and just let them come back into Texas en masse.
Gosh. Yeah, burn it all down. Start over. So it's the only thing we have left.
So yeah, I had a lineup of fun stuff. And then I saw that video coupled with the Blaze special. Again, go check it out. It's the Blaze Texas versus federal government or something like that special. One of their people rides along with the trucker convoy and all that stuff. And yeah, the trucker convoy part is nice because you get to see those people, and they're genuine people within the convoy trying to do what they think will help make a difference, bring attention to things, all while spreading Jesus. However, it appears that they should not have stopped down at the border. Rather, they should have stopped in Houston and blocked off traffic in Houston to actually make a statement. But again, how would they know that? Because all this was done behind closed doors.
Yeah.
For a photo op for the Republicans and trying to save face for the Democrats.
I said it earlier in the episode. It's all the same freaking party. They're all the same. They're all corrupt.
Maybe we'll change this episode. Instead of Supreme Law, it'll be Unibrows, Unicorns, and Uniparties.
Unibrows, Unicorns, and Uniparties. Where's the unicorns? I missed the unicorns.
Okay, now that we've swallowed that black pill, I just want to give you two.
Good news, everyone.
Yes, two. Give you
Two good news.
Three.
Mm-hmm.
Final offer.
I shall count to 3.
No more.
Not to 2, neither to 4. Save it be to get to 3.
5 is right out.
It is right out.
3 good newses coming from Utah's.
Ooh.
All right.
Okay.
So, this one's coming from Cox.
Oh, did he fill out his punch-it card and get the free right-wing
He did.
vote?
He did. He got his 10 progressive policies.
10 progressive policies, get a free right-wing one?
Exactly.
I'm going to print a punch-it card now. Called the Cox policy card, and it's just going to have liberal,
Free conservative.
with a little free stamp.
Print a bunch of them. I'll hand them out at the convention, the delegate convention.
And then we'll take some hole punches, and every time he makes a liberal policy, you can hole punch and see how many you go through before you get your free conservative one.
So, Cox signed into law legislature that would have public schools show and teach about the 10 Commandments.
Oh, he's pretending to be a Christian again, too.
On top of all that.
Good.
Now, this was hilarious because in the comments, so you're going to teach the Quran? No. No, not in the same fashion, at least. Because, well, you see, in order to understand, this kind of ties into all the Bolshevik stuff we just talked about. In order to understand how the country is actually supposed to work and how the government is actually supposed to work, you have to understand where the foundation for the government comes from, whether you're religious or not. The 10 Commandments and associated things were extremely influential in forming the government of the United States. So it's only reasonable for public education to teach about the foundation of the government that allows you to have this public education. But the 10 Commandments is what dictates a moral and religious people that gave you the freest country on earth. To where you don't have to follow the religion that they believe in order to live in the country. So, there's that. Second, Utah legislature. So you remember Utah passed a school choice type program thing?
Yes.
It was kind of a limited school choice thing.
Yes, and they were trying to end it early because they didn't want it because it was hurting public education.
Yeah. So it took effect this year.
Yes.
It finally opened.
I think it was like 3 months in they tried, or not 3 months. Yeah, it was like the beginning of this month that they were talking about trying to take it down because it was taking too much from public education.
Yeah. Yeah, they did that. However, when it finally opened up for applications, the legislature had an emergency meeting within 24 hours of it opening up because of the extremely high volume of applications. And they doubled the money available.
Yes, as they should. Because public education is brainwashing.
But you just praise them for the 10 Commandments. It's a step. Until I see a solid stride, I'm staying out.
The 10 Commandments being there is all good and well, and that's fine. I still think the correct step would be just abolish the Department of Education. But
there's that.
There's,
Yeah.
too many people opposed to that, apparently.
Apparently that's a...
Too many publicly educated people involved in the voting.
What are you trying to say? I think you know.
I went to public education too. Difference is I just didn't let it take me.
I decided to focus on learning how to learn instead of learning what to learn.
The funniest thing is like, oh, you must be one of those people that got like C's. Like, no, I had straight A's. Like all 4 years of high school for the most part. I had like a C in math when my dad died.
Yeah, my middle school years weren't so great, but my high school years,
high school was solid. Yeah. Oh, you had straight A's. So you were always in school and you followed the public education thing. I missed an entire quarter of my junior year and probably almost half of my senior year. I just like sloughed my senior year. The reason I graduated with straight A's my senior year is because I took all courses that I was able to write in that I was present. Otherwise, I would have had to take summer school to make up for all my absences because I never went because it was stupid and I knew it.
Yeah,
I was intelligent enough to get straight A's while not going to school.
I slept in my math classes.
Yes.
And got A's and B's. And my senior year, I made sure I took tech lab.
Yes.
Not because...
Auto tech.
Yeah.
Took auto tech myself.
I took tech lab not because, I was fascinated with being able to do cool things with computers and robotics and all that stuff, which, would have been cool. But because
for the Dota tournaments.
It was because I knew the teacher did not care. Every once in a while, he threw out an assignment because he had to. And I did the homework that I needed to do in school, not at home. And I played games.
I had one teacher. I had one teacher that called me out on because I would go to class and I'd walk in, I'd put my name on the roll and I'd walk out. I had one teacher call me out on it and he's like, "You can't leave class today. I'm watching you." And while he was watching me, I pulled my phone out, called the front desk, and told him I was my brother and that I needed to check out of school to go to a doctor's appointment. I closed the phone, looked him dead in the eye as over the intercom.
Try me. You have no power here.
He was like, "That was rude." I was like, "Yeah. Do you want anything from McDonald's? I'll be back in like 20 minutes. Just passing through.
I'm an ass, just not an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. I'm an ass, just not an asshole. He was really cool, though. I loved that teacher. I actually used to pick him up at McDonald's when I would leave and go to McDonald's.
Right.
Because I loved McDonald's breakfast back in high school when they still had the steak bagel and it was beautiful.
Steak bagel, you say?
They did. It was glorious. It's so good. I wish they'd bring that back.
Nah, they won't.
They don't have bagels at all anymore there. But the steak bagel
nor
was
steak.
glorious. It was good.
I question if they even have beef anymore.
Allegedly. Allegedly, they still have beef. But yeah, I used to go and grab breakfast there, and I'd come back because it was the first 2 periods of the day.
Right.
So I set it up so I had auto tech, which was the first 2 periods of one day, and then I had history class, I was the teacher's aide for a history class, and then I had the history class back to back the next day. So I would show up in the morning as a TA, and I would walk into the history class and be like, "Hey, do you actually need me for anything today?" And he'd be like, "No." And I'm like, "It's chapter whatever today, right?" "Yeah." "Cool. Do you care if I'm here?" "Yes." "Okay. I'll see you later." "Okay, bye." Or I would just take a nap. Whatever, one of those things.
I'm either sleeping in the back of the class or I'm walking away.
But yeah, that was
Public education.
that was public education. That's what public education is. Useless. And I say that knowing full well that history teacher actually taught me more than like any other teacher I ever had. I loved that history teacher.
Right.
He was awesome.
Yeah, that was one of my math classes that I slept in. He was the best math teacher I had. Not because he let me sleep, but because he actually taught me some stuff.
Yeah. And most of it didn't really have anything to do with the class. Because we would just sit and chat.
So the third and final piece of good news.
Oh, goody.
In just a couple weeks or a month or 2 away, Utah is about to have its own meat processing facility.
We don't already have?
That's separate from the big 4 companies that are owned by Brazil and China and others. So yeah, it's an individual thing. I believe I'm pretty sure this is one we talked about before, but now it's actually about to open its doors.
Good.
It's a bunch of ranchers that got together and were like, we're sick of having to be beholden to all these companies that are just making it so we can't make a profit off of our beef. So they went on this joint venture thing, and it's about to open in Utah, a meat packing plant. Every state should do this.
Yes. Twice.
At least. Yeah, there's a lot of ranchers that are very relieved at this opening up because it gives them options. You know, free market. Well, now they're going to charge more for beef, probably. So they can actually make a profit, probably. However,
or they might end up charging less.
Yeah. As they get more and more separated from the big 4 companies, the easier it is to actually have lower prices because you see, those big companies, they buy the cows as freaking dirt cheap as they can. Mm-hmm. And then they turn around. You think the price gouging is happening at the grocery store like Joe Biden is saying, or Snickers. They're shrinkflation. They're price gouging. No. The price gouging is happening
at the meat packing plants.
When these foreign companies buy the cows at pennies on the dollar, then turn around and charge you $10 for a steak.
Yeah.
That's price gouging. But this is a great step in the right direction. So there, spoonful of sugar to go with your black pill. Yeah. You can press your little Satan button there now if you want.
I can.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure? Is it that time already?
Or you can press a different one. That's all I got, unless you really want more stuff to make you mad.
No, I'm good. I'm good. It's time to stop.
Thanks, Satan.
It's subtle, actually.
One of the best lines from that movie.
Are there other lines in that movie? Pretty sure that's the only one. It's the entire movie right there.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
So yeah. Go check out Redemption Tactical. Tell them hi.
That's it. Just 5 stars and high.
5 stars and high. 4.5 stars. 5 stars.
It's the appropriate amount of stars every time.
Like, subscribe, share, all those fun types of things.
There was doo-doo feces thrown all over the...
Stuck so bad.
Stuck so bad.
Galatians 4:16. Bye. Maybe.
Did you make an outro clip yet?
Of course not.
Do we have an outro clip? Do we even have an outro clip? Does one exist?
I'm just waiting.
Just waiting for it.
For an outro. A whole new outro. A dazzling scene that hardly anyone sees.
All right, I'm going to cut you off.
What's even better is this is at the end.
Yes, it's the best. They still won't know what's going on.
Sweet cherry on top.
Sweet cherry on top.
Yours.
Yeah, it did. He definitely opened the door for the FDRs among
And the LBGAs.
others and the
And all that ilk.
yes. And the FJBs and all of it.
JBs and the LGBs.
The alphabet soup.
All that and a bag of chips. Recording. Do. Flicker camera. Flicker real good. I don't know why it does that. I think we're all set. Are you all set?
Yep.
I'm all set. Ready, set, go.